Mary McLeod Bethune was an educator and activist who fought for the advancement of Black Americans, especially Black girls, by improving access and quality of education. She was born on July 10, 1875 in Maysville, South Carolina, to former slaves. Her parents were extremely poor. They had 17 children, and all of them worked, most of them picking cotton. But when a missionary started a school for African-American children near her home in Maysville, Bethune decided she wanted to go. She walked 8 miles to school each day by herself, and she came home and tried to teach her family what she learned. She went on to attend the Scotia Seminary for Girls in North Carolina on a scholarship and graduated in 1893. But she was far from finished. She then attended Dwight Moody's Institute for Home and Foreign Missions in Chicago, and after 2 years moved back down south to work as a teacher and share her knowledge. She worked as a teacher for 10 years and married another teacher, Albertus Bethune, in 1898. They had a son, Albert, but the couple parted in 1907, and in 1918, Albertus died from tuberculosis. Bethune didn't have much money, so she moved to Daytona, Florida, where there was more economic opportunity, and opened the Daytona Normal and Industrial Institute for Negro Girls in 1904. It was a true labor of love. She built the desks and chairs herself. The kids used elderberry juice for ink and burned wood for pencils. The school started small with just 5 girls and Bethune's own son, Albert, but eventually it grew to 250 students. The school eventually merged with a boys' school and was redubbed Bethune-Cookman College. Taking advice from her friend, Booker T. Washington, she courted the wealthy white organizations that had much more access to resources, including money and influence. She had James Gamble of Procter & Gamble sit on the school board of trustees. John D. Rockefeller donated $62,000 to her school. She even developed a friendship with FDR and a very close friendship with Eleanor Roosevelt. And while Bethune was fighting for education for kids, she was also fighting for women's rights. She joined the National Association of Colored Women and served as the president of the Florida chapter from 1917 to 1925. And she did all this while getting threats from members of the Ku Klux Klan. And did she let that stop her? Absolutely not. In 1935, she started the National Council of Negro Women in New York City. In 1938, she hosted the White House Conference on Negro Women and Children. And during World War II, she gained approval for Black women to serve as officers in the Women's Army Corps. She was also a special assistant to the Secretary of War during World War II and served as a member of FDR's Black Cabinet, which was a coalition of Black leaders who advised Roosevelt on issues facing the Black community. Bethune gave her life to the improvement of others. She advocated for equality of the races and the sexes and went to great lengths to enact change until she died in 1955 at the age of 79.